Thank you all for joining us virtually for the 2020 Ghana Garden and Flower Show. My name is Karen Johnson, and I'm with the Ghana Garden and Flower Movement. It's my pleasure to welcome you, all of you who are streaming across our online platforms, social media, Zoom, around the world, and here today. As you all know, the Ghana Garden and Flower Show is the flagship movement of the Ghana Garden and Flower Movement. It began in 2013, and now in its 8th year, we've taken the movement virtually with the theme, Live the Change. Despite COVID-19, we wanted to take this show into an innovative and creative space so that we could engage all of you, our garden enthusiasts, our plant lovers, our green economists, and those in the green job industry. We welcome you today, and I'm pleased, I'm getting a little echo, but I'll keep going. I'm pleased to have with me here today some of our distinguished panelists who I will introduce. To my left, Ms. Pearl Coleman Aka. Pearl Coleman Aka is the USAID private sector team leader in Ghana, who joins us today in two capacities, one as the USAID private team leader and also as the Cosmos Innovation Center as a mentor and coach for KIC. She has over 18 years of experience in managing, designing, and implementing development projects, mainly those associated with agriculture value chains. Ms. Coleman Aka's expertise is in expanding market access, building stronger business linkages, improving management, and implementing effective communication and technological tools focused on economic development. Thank you, Pearl, for being with us today. Professor Irene Aguirre is the head of agribusiness department at the University of Ghana. She is an agricultural economist with experience in teaching and engaging in research, as well as consulting on gender and policy evaluation. She has built a strong background in microfinance practice, having led a development NGO, the Multi-Features and Capacity Enhancing Services, MFCS. Professor Aguirre's research aims at understanding the productivity, profitability, and sustainability of organic and conventional farming systems. She has over 40 publications to her credit. That's quite impressive. And she has served as a technical advisor to many public-private partnerships. Professor Aguirre, thank you for joining us. A woman who needs no introduction, the convener of our show, the Ghana Garden and Flower Movement visionary and Stratcomm Africa CEO, Ms. Esther A.N. Koba, joins us. Please give it up for Ms. Koba. Virtually, can we cut to the Zoom, please? Virtually, we have Chris Hugendorn. Chris Hugendorn is a renowned flower expert who joins us from the Netherlands. The Ghana Garden and Flower Movement is excited to partner with POOM Netherlands, which is an association of retired experts who work with small businesses and startups. Chris's work has been, for the past few years, helping businesses to scale up, and he is an expert in green enterprise. Chris, thank you for joining us. We can hear you, that's perfect. So I'd like to start off just with a few opening points. I'll ask Pearl, could you tell us just a little bit about what the Ghana Garden and Flower Movement means to you and why you've decided to participate with us today?
Thank you, Karen, and thanks again for the invitation from Stratcomm. I'm just an enthusiast for the sector, and we're just discussing this year that it would have been nice, as usual, to be able to go see the garden shows and be part of that. I mean, I feel like over the last couple of years, we've had a renewed surge and interest in floriculture, especially, and it's in creating of home gardens. And people, at least people of my age and my colleagues, have really picked up that culture of gardening that we had as children. We saw our mothers doing it, and suddenly we've picked up that art again. And I think it's a great opportunity for us to be able to turn that sector into a more economically viable one. And so that's that's why I decided to join today and share my passion with Auntie Esther and the team here. Thank you.
Thank you. So we are in the age of COVID where we will sanitize and share the microphone. Professor, this question is for you. You've seen the impacts that the show has had, that the movement has had over the years. What does that mean to Ghana's culture? What does it mean to Ghana's economy?
You know, the MDGs.
If
you
there we go.
get the MDGs, it was Millennium Development Goals, but those goals actually drew our attention also to climate action. And so in 2015, when the SDGs came up, that was clear, SDG 13, and saying that the greenhouse gases are depleting fast the ozone layer. So I've been kind of more sustainability conscious. And so I'm part of the team that is always saying that before you procure to do any business, can you think about the circular economy concept so that you buy the things that will not add more nitrous oxide or carbon dioxide. Even if you exude, how are you also creating sinks? And so for me, this is a sink, because when we exude, and we will do that, because most enterprises, especially if it's agriculture, you have to destroy before you build. And therefore, that is what allows me to follow this 8 years of gardens. I say, wow, I did horticulture 101, and ornamentals, we had to write on them. Landscape agriculture, I did that, or landscape horticulture. My own home, I try, but inside, I had to stop because of malaria. I don't know. I thought that the mosquitoes were playing with me, but I believe that today I will learn how to manage it, because I'm also kind of an organic person, so I don't like to also spraying the inorganics too much. Right. So I like it because of the sink it creates to absorb the carbons we will exude by all means. Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you. A sanitizer. And Madame Koba, yes. This is really a special moment for you. We're here in your garden where you sort of had the theory for what now has become a reality. Could you talk to us about what the impact of this movement has been over the years, how you've seen it morph, and what you're excited for this year?
I guess the two speakers before me have said it all. The impact is, for me, what others have felt. The impact is, for me, what others are experiencing. The impact is, for me, if Ghana is beginning to look more beautiful, albeit starting from people's homes, or people are seeing a lot more green, even in their little spaces, and then eventually in the bigger space. And we're contributing to stopping global warming and climate change, and also getting into the green economy, because the aim of this whole show has been to contribute to the realization of the UN Sustainable Development Goals through promoting a greener, cleaner, healthier, wealthier, more beautiful Ghana. So when after a show, I have some young people running to me and saying, Auntie Esther, thank you very much. And I say, for what? And they say, because we got our first export order. I am happy. When I have an exhibitor come to me and say, I am now able to pay school fees more regularly and buy food because a lot more people have gotten to know where I am through the show. When I have an exhibitor tell me, I now have a platform of hundreds of buyers, and there's no way I would have met them without coming to the Ghana Garden and Flower Show. When I see that in 2013, I literally had to go and beg and plead to move people to the park, and I only had 14 exhibitors. It is, I remember, Madam Philippa Pepra-Pippers, who came with her furniture, the garden furniture, spread them out, made them look like, you know, this is really a big show. We had 14 exhibitors, 140 visitors. Last year, we had 140, we had 1,400 visitors in 2013. Last year, we had 140 exhibitors and over 21,000 visitors. And from January, we have people calling us and saying, when is the show? I want to plan my year around the show. And I'm thinking, plan your year around the show. And when I go and talk to flower growers, little flower growers, who say, Madam, now we're looking for land to develop seedlings, I think the change is in the people. The impact is in the stories of people. And that is why this year we have put on the show success stories from the Ghana Garden and Flower Show. I will step off at this time and let one of our advisory board members, I'd like to mention all of them who have been pillars of this show, Mona Asem, Philippa Pepra, I mentioned her already, Arafua Eninanti Arafua, Patrick Masukwe, who will join us shortly, and Bernard Nana Tufo, Abui Salome, and Anissa. All of these people have worked with us to build the show. And I'm happy to step off now and invite Patrick to come and take this seat because he knows much, much more about this business than I can ever know. Patrick, thank you for all the knowledge that you share. Thank you for the master class yesterday. And we're delighted to welcome you here in your flowery shirt. Thank you. And I wish all of us a wonderful afternoon and a wonderful conference. Thanks.
Thank you. And that's perfect timing. Welcome, Patrick. My next question is actually for you. What, for those who are out watching virtually, getting started, the entrepreneurs, how does one start out in floriculture as an enterprise?
As an enterprise, I think if you want to look at it from a business sense, you have to first of all start off by looking out for what it is that people want. Because there's no point in growing things that, never mind if they are very nice, that people out there do not really want and are not willing to pay for. So that is the first thing. What is it that the market needs? What is it that the market requires? The floricultural business is all about novelty. It's about new things. So it might not necessarily be one of the things that is well known. Maybe there's a local plant around that has something unusual about it. And that is what you would bring to the table, because out there in Holland, in Aalsmeer, they are always looking out for newer things. So find out what the market wants, first of all. Also know your climate, know where you are, because there's no point, again, trying to grow roses here in Ghana to compete with the world market. There's no way we can meet that standard. So find the kind of things that do so well here, like foliages, like the heliconias, like the anthuriums, things that are tropical and subtropical in nature, things that do so well easily without having to put in so much input in terms of fertilizers and all the other things. I think when you have that, and if you have the love for it as well, you are set to fly.
That's wonderful. Can we go to Chris? Can you hear us, Chris? My next question is for you, just to build off of what Patrick has shared with us about getting into the floricultural enterprise. Your expertise and one of the things that you do very well is helping businesses to scale. Could you talk to us, perhaps from that point of view, about advice you have for businesses that are trying to get to that next level and, as Auntie Esther mentioned, trying to get into the export and international market? And we have a plane. Carrying flowers, I'm sure. Well, while we're waiting, I think we're going to just pitch to another question and get the Zoom up. Patrick, you have the mic.
Yes, I do.
You were talking about something that I think is really interesting, knowing the market, knowing what they want, knowing the plants that we can grow. What are some local plants that you recommend that people have in their back pocket?
Well, for instance, some of the plants that we really do not respect here are highly sought after outside. For instance, the crotons. Here they've given it a bad name. They call them cemetery flowers because you often see them growing in the cemeteries. But outside where they don't have the blessing of year-round weather, I mean good weather, sunny weather like we do, and they have seasonal things, you have winter, they buy a lot of house plants, and crotons feature a lot because they like them. They don't grow there naturally. Anything tropical is big news out there. So they grow them, and then get into winter, they are not able to stand the cold, and some of them die. So the next season, next year, they have to buy new set of crotons. And crotons are so easy to root, and they grow like weeds here. So I think in Uganda, they grow them and export them out. But that is one area that I think we can look at. The foliages, well, crotons are foliage plants. But basically, the foliages, I know the Ghana greens, that's a lot of monsteras and philodendrons. And it's big business. They can't, according to them, they can't even meet the demand outside. So these things, because we have a good weather here, foliage grows very easily and very well here. So I think that's one area we can look into. I've already spoken about the heliconias. That's also another area that we can look into. Gebras, I believe, should do well here. Gebras should do well here. We haven't really explored it as well as I think we could. Many years ago, in fact, decades ago, somewhere in mid-year, there was a farm that was growing gebras, and they were doing it for export, and even some chrysanthemums. But I think those are things we can look at. And anthuriums.
And anthuriums, great. Pearl, I would love to know, you do a lot of work with youth, and you've been a mentor and a coach and helped people to understand that this is a space where they can get into. So talk to us about what job creation looks like in the near future.
So I think for most people, it's looking for, like Patrick just said, looking for new opportunities. But I think in my interaction with the youth, what most people need is, first of all, access to information, which is what we are doing here, which is why I really like the opportunity to be here. Because being aware of if I'm interested in this area, how do I start? That information point is always a problem. And so at least if you're on this show, you'd have access to a few people here that you can contact, and definitely contact the movement for more information on the areas in which you can join in. Secondly, for startups, like you also mentioned, he's mentioned a range of plants that are available here in Ghana. And I was just sitting here thinking that I'm sure one person's role, because I always like to turn the various constraints in the sectors for opportunities for business entry. Because you may be a young person sitting there listening and thinking, wow, I don't know anything about these plants they're saying, and I'm not necessarily such a green thumb. But guess what? You can be the supplier for the seedlings for those who are out there looking for it. Because that's always a big market. The source. How do we make sure that if I want like 100, stocks of a particular plant. Are they available? So even picking up just one of these plants that were mentioned and developing, being the nursery or the source for it, is a very, very important tool. Over the last year, the government launched these greenhouse projects. And one of the greenhouse projects, I know the discussion around it is mainly about food agriculture. People are thinking about, vegetable growing, etc. But guess what? Greenhouses are a great place also for floriculture. And so if you're sitting there thinking, oh, I don't have the land, or I don't have, etc., that is an area in which you can tap into. That opportunity is there, and those are kind of great spaces that have been created in the Dawenya area where you can go in and pitch your tent literally in one of the greenhouses and start your bed. And I'm so glad Auntie Irene is here, because we always forget that here in Accra, Kumasi, Cape Coast, you are surrounded by universities. And yet when we look for information, that's the last place we think of going to get the right source of information. So tap into the linkages that you have. And I know somebody's in there thinking that, but I don't have the money. I hear the plants are expensive now. Did you hear him talk about the cemetery flowers? I'm sure you pass by and pour. You pour water on it all the time. I mean, my mom always used to say that Ghana, we are so blessed. You wash your bowls and pour the water outside. The next day you're growing peppers in your background. So yes, it's not necessarily, don't think of starting, I need my huge land to start. I'm sure if Patrick were to tell his story, he started in a small backyard, grew it step by step, because plants grow, they propagate. I recently got a beautiful gift of a very small plant in the pot, and I thought it was a nice indoor plant. Last time I looked, I had to buy 3 more plants just to open up, to propagate it and give it more room to grow. And that's plants for you. So starting, I think these days we always like, I want the big biz, I want to hit big. But no, the one thing agriculture teaches us is that you need that patience to see things through, to see things grow. And so in the same way, if you want to get into this business, have the patience to grow the business. And I always say, try not to saddle yourself at the get-go. Grow the business and use the revenue from that initial startup to develop to the next bit. If you see yourself straining to move to the next point, then it's time to move sideways. Partner with somebody in the sector and bring in more resources. But don't always think, oh, I need that big money to hit it big. And those are the few things I'll start off with now.
I kind of want you to be my mentor. I want to go back to Chris, who's joining us via Zoom. Chris, earlier my question to you was about scaling and what information or advice you might have as an expert in this area. Can we see him? Can you hear us?
Yes. Can you hear me?
We can, loud and clear.
Okay, very good. And you also see my screen?
We can.
Okay, very good. Well, first of all, thanks for the invitation. I probably owe it to the fact that 3 years ago I visited your beautiful country. To start with, I'm very happy with the comments of Patrick, and my small presentation really elaborates a bit on that. A question I often get is, how can we increase the floriculture market? Is that by means of push or pull strategy? I suppose everybody knows what is meant with that. Well, I can tell you that the history of over 100 years proves that in our floricultural sector, the answer is push. And then, of course, the question is how to push. Well, maybe with 5, 10, 100 options, but I will mention only 3. First of all, with new products. And I have a fantastic example here. This is Phalaenopsis. It's an orchid. Like 20 years ago, this product was non-existent, you could almost say. In the meantime, it has become a very, very big product. It's the biggest flowering pot plant in Europe. And why is that? Because of a huge increase in assortment, in colors and flower shapes, different pots, and so on. And the result you see here. In the year 2002, there were 10 million plants sold of Phalaenopsis. Now, in the year 2018, it has grown to 130 million. That's over 200 million euros. Can you imagine? And that's all because of new assortment. Then the question is, what can we do with this message? Well, Patrick already mentioned, and others as well, Anthurium is a product which is doing very well in your country. Your climate is very suitable. But what I saw a few years ago when I visited your country is that the assortment is terribly old-fashioned. What I would do if I were you, maybe stick heads together, a couple of growers, and import new assortment from Holland, because the two main breeders of Anthurium are in Holland. And you will see that if you grow those products and you push them and participate in the Ghana Garden and Flower Show, I'm sure you will increase your floricultural market. I'm convinced. Another idea I raised is to increase your market to new markets. For instance, export to Europe seeds of cuttings of Theobroma. You probably know what this product is. It's cacao. We grow a few 100,000 plants of cacao here in Holland in greenhouses. But we only have one variety, and it's a terrible variety. You can also tell it from these two pictures. In our greenhouses, the leaves do not become nice and dark green. They're too soft. Very quickly they burn. So what I would do if I were you, there's plenty of cacao varieties in Ghana, because your country has the international collection from all over the world and the Cacao Research Institute of Ghana. And this is just one example. At the entrance of this institute, there is this plant. And you can tell here a bit more details. These leaves are smaller, they're darker green, and this could be a potential variety for the European market. And when you make a nice assortment with plants that suit here in our greenhouses, you can really make business, because there's a trend in Europe of which I show a picture now. You know, this is pepper, the pepper that we eat, but you can also buy it as a beautiful plant. And once every week, you cut one of these peppers and you use them in your salad or whatever, and it's trendy. So then you create a new market. So why not do something like that with cacao, of which we know it's doing very well in your climate? And I'm sure of those hundreds, probably thousands of varieties you have in Ghana at this institute, you will find 2, 3, 10 suitable varieties. So those were the comments I would like to make to start with.
Thank you. And while we have you, I actually have a question, a follow-up question to that. We talk a lot about how the Netherlands and Ghana are growing together. And specifically, the Ghana Garden and Flower Movement has been working with POOM Netherlands for the last few years. So I wonder if you could speak to the country-specific goals and how they align.
You mean the country-specific goals of Ghana?
Of Ghana and the Netherlands working to grow the green economy together. Yes, could you speak to that?
Well, you know, if I would be sent into exile tomorrow, the day after that, I would go to Ghana, and I would try one of the examples that I have given. I think the cooperation could be there that, well, more or less Holland is the gateway to Europe. Many of the products produced in the Netherlands are exported all over Europe. And there's plenty of options. Patrick mentioned a few interesting ones. For instance, cuttings of crotons and those type of green plants. We're always in desperate need every year again for new plants, and Ghana can make them easily with your very suitable climate.
Well, you don't have to be an exile to come to Ghana. You're always welcome. I think the green economy.
Exile.
Yes. Do you mind turning on your video, Chris? We want to see you.
Is that something that I can arrange?
Yes. And while we're doing that, I have a question for Pearl.
Okay.
So Professor Aguirre mentioned the Millennial Development Goals, and I know that you've worked in various capacities in public-private partnership. I'm wondering if you could speak to how some of the things that we're doing in Ghana align with these goals and align with the UN Sustainable Development Goals.
Thank you. Thanks for that. And just before we move to the question you just asked, I just wanted to add to the list that Chris just shared. And Chris, thank you so much for the examples. I love the cocoa example coming from the agricultural sector, the food agricultural sector, and the export agricultural sector. But one other plant that we have a high demand for actually is the pineapple. So we have the ornamental pineapples. If you're Ghanaian, you know about the Queen Victoria. It's a yellow, smaller, more thorny. That's not the one you would buy to eat because it's so difficult to cut it up because it's literally covered in thorns. That particular variety is one that is in high demand as an ornamental plant at dinner tables and also for chefs to use for food displays. So that's another tip right there before I move on to your questions. And so in line with the discussion on the SDGs, and I like the fact that Auntie took us back to the MDGs because I think that this whole concept began with the MDGs because remember that came around with also the Millennium Villages and the idea of the literally like the perfect environment. And that took us back to greening. That took us back to the concept that everything doesn't have to be cemented and covered up, but how do we make sure that we include gardening in the towns and help the townsfolk, even in the villages, to, even if it's an agricultural product, growing some around the household, like we used to do as children. I keep saying that because I live and I grew up in Tema, and even until very recently, when you drive around Tema, you will not see walls. We had hedges and picket fences because then everybody had grass and it was just continuous lawns, and we had green areas, etc. So that's concept, because as you know, Tema was a developed community. So that concept is where the Millennium Villages came from. So fast forward now to the SDGs, and I'm sure people will think that they can't see themselves in the SDGs. But one SDG that we always forget is good health. There's nothing more calming. I mean, sitting here now, and Auntie Esther, kudos to you. This is a beautiful, beautiful garden. It's a very hot day here in Accra. If you're out there, it's terribly hot. Guess what? We are not feeling the heat here at all. It's beautifully calm and green, and all the stress has fallen off me already. So there's nothing more calming than having a good garden. And I remember as children, I'm sure my mom would be like, oh gosh, she didn't say that. But as children, my mom used to get us out there on a Saturday morning to go and clean the leaves of the plants. And Auntie Esther, I see you have a few of them here. And that was actually a process to just get us out there. First of all, out in the sun, we'll do the watering. And when you're done so quickly, because the watering, you just spray and run away. She said, no, polish the leaves of the plants. and all these things are just ways. I mean, we may not be doing that now with the kids, but there are good health activities in the idea of gardening. We had every long vacation as we had then. They'll give you a couple of seeds, peppers, corn, especially corn. We all grow a maize plant, grow some beans. Just do something. And so that process, getting back to SDGs, there's nothing more calming than tilling the earth and working in that process and having that plant. Now we are on social media today. I'm sure you've all seen the various pictures that keep coming up of the green rooms, people having all these wonderful plants around in their halls. And now there's this concept that even in your bedroom, you should actually have a living plant because it helps you sleep better if somebody else, and in this case, the plant, is breathing with you through the night. So we are learning as we grow, and all these to help us maintain the health as our food and our society changes and we develop other stress-related diseases. And I think the other one that Auntie referred to is very important, which is the environmental consciousness and environmental sustainability. For me, again, going back to my agricultural area where I work mainly, the food agricultural systems, one thing we keep facing year in year out is the timing of the fruiting of the plant. And guess who is in charge of pollination? And whether it's pollination of flowers or of these fruits, it's the bees that I work through. Hi, Chris. We can all see you now. So it's the bees that work, and the bees get to work only if we have some flowers for them to work with. I learned, I'm not agriculturalist, but that was something for me. I was like, oh, the life of the bees are very important because they keep us all going. And so it's very important for us to regrow this culture of flowers, of floriculture, to have something for the bees to be attracted to, and that way go around and pollinate all our other food systems also. I'll leave Auntie Irene. I'm sure she'll strengthen that for me. Thanks.
The alignment of what we are doing with the SDGs. Okay, so we already said that it's an enterprise also. So SDG 1 will create wealth, means you can reduce your poverty, right? So 1 is good. And then some of the plants or the ornamentals goes into food. So SDG 2, the food security or no hunger, we have it there. We've talked about the health. But a lot of learning, for me, when you are doing these things, because of the innovative aspect you talked about, there are things you have to explore. So education, good quality education, getting the capacity of people built itself is also a concern for sustainable development goal. Then we come to, even it can be gendered. For me, I see these things are, plants are so tender. Yes, it's a man-woman thing in a way that women maybe we have to get them to know that this is for you, actually, because we like to tend the things in the kitchen and we can do it well and let it go as an income generating activity to add to your original livelihood. So that is how I see that is the 5th one I'm in love with. I've talked about the 13th one. There's another one that comes with responsible production and consumption. So as I said, when you are procuring your inputs and you want to even use machines to cure, you want to use energy efficient machines, you want to, exactly. So that is how I analyze it, to let it fall along the SDGs, and we can go on and on and on. Yes.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
It was quite coincidental that we have Tema representing on the panel, both Pearl and Patrick.
Yeah.
And we have the international community representing, as I am visiting and becoming a resident Ghanaian, along with Chris, who says he'll come to Exile with me. So you're more than welcome. Before I move on, Auntie Irene, you mentioned something that just makes me feel that I should tease tomorrow. For those of you watching at home, the Ghana Garden and Flower Movement and the Ghana Garden and Flower Show will be the platform for our latest Stratcomm initiative, Nurture to Bloom. It speaks to what you were talking to Auntie Irene on women and our unique traits and ability to identify talent, grow talent, really nurturing people in the next generation of leadership. So I encourage everyone, tune back in tomorrow, the same time, virtually, where we will have another panel, Nurture to Bloom. Sounds like I grew up in Tema. My father used to make me compost. we would go out, we would feed the birds, and then he said we'd have to feed the flowers too, so we would compost. And I'm glad that, Auntie Irene, you have the mic. I have one more question for you. When I was a young person, I never really understood that as a way for me to get into business. But you deal with students who are taking it from sort of a theoretical level to a practical level. Talk to me about the trend that you see with the Ghanaian youth and how they're getting really involved in the movement.
In terms of entrepreneurship, okay, now the teachers themselves have been conscientized to use the design thinking approach. So now we're teaching our children that if you want to do research, then take something that you see as solving a problem, and so empathize with the situation before you start ideating. And if you can raise a little bit more money, then prototype, test, and say this can work. and share with industry probably to partner with you. Because as a young person, to raise 100,000 to really build on some of the things that you want to do is difficult. But if I have opened up and you can get somebody to give you 10,000, it may not be enough, but somebody is looking at you, wants to work with you and trust you month by month with something more, then you see that you are settling and you will be able to scale after some time. So that is what, for some of us, we've come into the product development arena and now pushing the agribusiness along the lines of the design thinking approach. The University of Ghana, I can say, has made entrepreneurship, for instance, a compulsory subject. But how we encourage the youth to really do it is what we are now learning, I would say, because it's now teachers being conscientized, more or less, to do more. So now we even have an institute that is pushing for intellectual property rights, patenting, encouraging commercialization of research, and saying that do it. If it works, take it to the business arena. If it works and you don't have enough capital, partner and scale it. So I believe that that message is coming up and we have to, I like the thing, push it more. Thank you.
My next question is for Patrick. You started out as a garden enthusiast. You've been doing this for almost 30 years, you said?
For a little bit over 30.
A little bit over
35 years.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, you look 35, so I'm assuming that
Oh, I'm flattered.
you started in your mother's garden. But it has turned into for you a consulting business. You're a landscape consultant, and I wonder what other industries or sectors could be green, like as we look at tourism, as we look at urban planning, as we look at urban gardening, and you see that these are trends that are going on in Ghana. What other sectors do you think could benefit from going green?
I think green is everywhere and everything. Like you said earlier on, or who said it? I think Pearl spoke about even when you look at building in architecture, you look at corporate spaces, green is becoming so important because most of the diseases that we are having these days are stress-related diseases. You're seeing younger people dying from strokes. I mean, stroke used to be an old man disease, and heart attacks used to be an old man disease when we were younger. Now, I hear of people in their 30s and 40s getting heart attacks, and it's all because we are living in a very fast-paced environment, so the stresses are there. So anything that will reduce stress, and green is a wonderful stress reducer. I mean, it's for it's not for nothing that God placed man in a garden. We are making it a concrete jungle, but that is the root of our stresses. So greening works in practically any industry. I mean, everywhere we need a green. So I don't know, you've spoken about a couple of industries, but it's everywhere, or it should be everywhere. So there really is no end to it. You see, and we find out in corporate spaces. I mean, when people who work with PCs, for instance, you get a lot of eye fatigue. It's become standard practice, or should become standard practice, to have a little green plant around you. It distresses. We know that it also has a way of taking away negative energy. There's so much. Talk about climate control within spaces. It's all green. So there's no end, really. So I don't want to give a start and an end of position. It spans everywhere.
So going to back to the question about opportunities, I think I like to break it down for people to see where they can step into, and I like what you're saying, Patrick, that it's everywhere. So, for example, people always think that, oh, if I'm going to floriculture, then I'm going to maybe sell it to houses or maybe events. But guess what? There are so many industries and so many. Now we have the housing boom of various complexes, etc. And they all come with gardens and they all come with green spaces. And somebody has to have the job of managing that. And that's why I like the idea that here on the panel we have a horticultural consultant who that's a job. People are asking, how do I get into this sector? That could be your job. You go in and get a contract from the organization of how to manage their garden, how to get gardeners in to mow the lawns once a week or to water the plants or to get new plants in there. And then be the one to contract out to the experts to come and do the job. It's about stepping out of your comfort zone. And Chris also said that as it is now, we need new varieties, and he's so right. We need new varieties. I mean, in our agricultural sector, in our food sector, yes, but especially I can imagine in the floricultural sector, there are ways to do this. And Auntie Irene was speaking about the expertise that her students have. People are certain that they can change the color of this beautiful white orchid you see in the frame by me. They can show you how to change the color to pink to match my dress right now. So those are the skills we are looking at. How do you match your marketing need or the demand or the constraint that you are seeing with somebody's expertise to then suddenly develop a new opportunity and a new business? So those are the ways you should process and think of the opportunities. Don't just look at it as a constraint, but how do you turn that constraint into another marketing opportunity for yourself?
Great. Thank you. For those of you who are joining via Facebook, I can see you and thank you. We hope that you will amplify today's show by using the hashtag GGFS2020. I have a question for any of the panelists who want to take it, Chris, including yourself. This comes from Facebook. Please, can you share more light on the greenhouse subject? Who would like to take this?
So I think I mentioned that. I would suggest, first of all, that maybe you are sending your contacts. So I'm sure we can follow up with more details offline. But this is a project that the government picked up this year as part of the planting, under the large umbrella of planting for food and jobs. They have various sub-umbrellas. And one of these, I think, is planting for export and rural development, if I'm not wrong. And I think it's under that they have the whole concept of greenhouses. And the idea there is about areas to build nurseries, mainly for the vegetable sector, looking at exports. As you know, Ghana is a main exporter for lots of our vegetables and also our fruits. But in that opportunity, as Patrick would probably bear me out, he's the horticulturalist here, greenhouses are a good place to develop, especially plants that have a bit more difficulty in our climate, in the outside climate where we are sitting now. Because greenhouses help you to have a controlled climate, and then you can also test and pilot the new ideas that we just discussed. But you can definitely contact the movement, and we can give you more details on how to be part of this opportunity if you would like to join them. Thank you.
Wonderful. Also from Facebook, this question is for Chris. You mentioned the approach of pushing into the market. And this person is asking, for those who do not have capital, how do they get access to an expert like yourself?
Well, that is not too difficult. I'm nowadays a consultant by profession, but I also do volunteer work. And one of the things I'm doing, 3 years ago, I was invited to Ghana as a volunteer consultant. And I toured the country for 2 weeks. So I would say if the point is lack of knowledge, know-how, no problem. It's easy to have access to that. Of course, when it gets down to the moment that you have to import plant material from Europe, a very interesting example, by the way, would be gerbera plants, because I have seen both in your country, Ghana, but even more so in Cameroon, that gerbera is really an easy crop to grow in your climate. But what you lack is new assortment. There are so many different colors and different sizes in gerbera. And that's what you are in desperate need of, I would say. And then, of course, when you don't have capital for that, to acquire that, then you have a problem. On the other hand, in many countries in the world, growing flowers is not that cheap because you need greenhouses with automatic ventilation and sometimes artificial lighting. All those kind of things you don't need in your country. A very simple construction with a plastic greenhouse, or sometimes even just shading, is enough. So the big investment, which is not that big, is a new plant material. And there I can help you out with finding the right contacts and so on.
Hello. Okay. I just making sure my mic was on. Thank you, Chris. For those of you who are joining on Facebook or all of our online platforms, I'm reminded by my dear friend Pearl, who's becoming my mentor, that our platforms will stay up throughout the year. So you can get in touch with us on Facebook. You can email us. You can go on our website. We will help you. We are here for you, and we want to see a cleaner, greener, healthier, wealthier, and more beautiful Ghana. One more question that comes to us from an online platform. This one is for Prof and for Patrick. So both of you, please. This person is asking, they're not educated formally. They don't have the training. Can they still get into this as a career choice? And if so, what are the recommendations that you have, both of you?
Yeah, learn by doing is something that you don't need to read and write. It's skill development. So it's passion, readiness, you get me, and then do it this way. And because there is common sense, yes, that's what I've realized. When you teach people how to do things and they are very much interested in it, then their inner talent also allows them to try. A lot of people do beats. They have not gone to school, but the combinations they can come out with is marvelous. So just be ready and then tell yourself that I need somebody to lead me to do it, and I will do it. I think that is the right attitude.
I think the person who asked the question has the key ingredient for success, because he's shown interest, and you need to be very interested to go anywhere. He should start small. It's important he starts small. But the beautiful thing about the age in which we are is that it's a knowledge-rich age. You just have, and everybody has a mobile phone. You can learn practically everything, even if you do not know. You can go out to YouTube, you can go out online and learn all these things if you don't have a physical person close by to learn from. And the beautiful thing about that is that it's global. The knowledge, I mean, the base is global. It's not only things, Ghanaian things that you would learn. And then as you apply them, you find out that you also come out with your own recipes and you innovate. You see, so the interest is key. If he's interested, or if it's a she, if she is interested, she should just go at it and start small. Start with a little pot plant and then learn. Make a few mistakes here and there, but as you make the mistakes, you learn in the process. You see, so I think the person is good to go. And I am also available to help the person out if they needs any tips, anything. I'm happy to do that.
So I've told a little white lie, which is that was me. I'm the person who needs the tips. One of the things that I would say, just to piggyback on that, is I've noticed being in Ghana that a lot of the people who are over in the roadsides, you know, they have the entrepreneurial spirit, they have the entrepreneurial attitude. So we're here for you as a movement. We encourage you to get involved. This one is from Zoom. How can agro-farmers who normally focus on crop production also enter the floricultural business and aid in promoting plants?
I think it's basically the same things. They are all plants. So the botany is the same. The agronomy is basically the same. Flowers are the precursors of fruits. So if you don't have flowers, you can't have fruits. So if they know how to produce peppers, for instance, if they know how to produce whichever fruit crop, that means they basically have the know-how with which you need to grow flowers. I mean, you might have to tweak it a bit depending on the particular variety that is involved. But they can easily move into that arena. Like I said to start with, it is important, though, to ascertain which flowers would sell. You understand? Because you don't just go into it, otherwise you're going to produce, and they are highly perishable. You're going to produce and nobody's buying. So you need to establish that first of all. But if you are growing food crops successfully, particularly the fruiting kind, then I don't think you have a problem with growing floricultural crops.
The city, those people in Jowulu or Trasako who grow our vegetables, they can be the ones to be encouraged to do it. Because if you are in Pina, and Pina is in the Upper West region, and you've seen the market day, people are interested in buying groundnuts and beans and something that they want to eat. You can start something because in economics we say supply creates its own demand. So those who are innovative and want to push, they can start something, and very soon you see that a few people will come and decide to buy flowers instead of beans or plantains, So it's all about also pushing. Like we listened to Chris, we need to show it up as something that farmers can also engage in. They are ready because they want something that they can sell and somebody would buy and get their livelihoods being maintained. But I believe that it can be something from maybe even the district assembly. We have a unit called business development services or centers. The agricultural departments themselves are there. We have cooperative units. We have community development units. We have a number of units at the district, municipal, and metro assemblies that can actually be the entry points for, just creating the awareness, starting projects, incentivizing, and then regulating. At least we have not talked about regulation, but I think that would be very important when we come to getting it part of the local economy development. Yes.
Can I just add something? I think there's so much opportunity around us if we would just look and see, if we would just think outside the box. Auntie spoke about Pina. And they are not excluded from what is going on here because they grow a lot of things like millet and sorghum and all those things. They have only concentrated on the grain. But what about the inflorescences of the sorghums and the maizes? That could be dried and used as dried flowers. And it's big outside. Well, here we don't do a lot of dry floral arrangements. But outside, they like a lot of dry, natural arrangements. So instead of cutting the crop, the cereal, the grain, after you harvest, after just cutting it down and just letting it die, maybe you could harvest the inflorescences too, dry them out, and you get them in volume and then send them out. Somebody could try that and see. I don't live in Pina, so, but... Or otherwise, find some other a crop, a grass of sorts, an ornamental grass that would do well in your climate, and then grow it on a commercial scale, because your climate does well for cereals and that kind of thing. So we just have to think.
This question is for Chris, who's our international floral expert. How does the international community come into play and get involved with what Ghana is doing in their green movement? That's a question from our Facebook.
Well, to be very honest, when you ask any person involved in floriculture in Europe, what about Ghana, they wouldn't know. If they would think of tropical countries which play a role in our sector, they will mention Costa Rica, they will mention Malaysia, all those kind of countries which produce a lot of greens, a lot of cuttings, and so on. And the funny thing is that when you look at those countries who produce those materials, those products, they are, from a climatological point of view and also from a logistical point of view, not as good as Ghana. For us, Ghana would be much closer, your climate is better, so it's really a matter of you picking up the opportunities that are there. The good thing is the market is there. You don't have to look for the market in case of export, because it's there. Europe is close by. And you have so many advantages in comparison with the other countries that I mentioned. It's just a matter of taking the chances, grab the chances, because the chances are there.
So just to add on to exactly that, I think for me, what I see is that it's a large market opportunity for us, and that's the role that it plays. It's a larger market opportunity that we need to be intentional about tapping into and about utilizing that market opportunity and creating various products that can then penetrate the market opportunity and create a direct link. So for example, using our agricultural example again, the food sector example again, there was a time when Ghana, we were very popular in the pineapple market. And that example came to my mind because you mentioned Costa Rica. And then overnight, there was a new variety that hit the international market. That came from Costa Rica, and Ghana did not have it yet. But it was an intentional movement by the sector, because pineapple is a major export, to immediately get the variety, work with scientists to make us able to produce it in the right way. And like he said, because we are able to reach the market in 6 hours, or even if you're going by sea, we still have a shorter time. We were back there on the market and be able to grab our market share. The important thing you have to realize that around this time, when we are entering the winter seasons for Europe, Ghana is one of the few countries that still has production going on. We still have our plants flowering, because we have this second season that we always have around this time, which means that that's always an international market opportunity that we can tap into. Because at this time, when people are getting back indoors and it's getting darker, a nice green plant on your desk is always nice. So these are things that we have to be more intentional about, and that is why the movement is important, because it's a way where we can collaborate and be intentional about opportunities and find ways to come together to tap them to them.
Next question is actually for me. So someone asked, are there florists here? I think they mean in our virtual show, and I want to answer affirmatively, yes. If you go onto our website, we have a virtual exhibition 24/7, which features various vendors. We have florists, we have plant vendors, we have people who do pots, we have people who sell supplies, we have those who are like Patrick, who sell their time and skills and expertise, and we have plenty for you to see on our website. We have fun competitions, and that question is very easy for me to answer, as well as moving forward, we have the Ghana Garden and Flower Clubs all throughout Ghana. They were launched officially on Wednesday, and you can go onto our website and sign up. We have 2 clubs currently in Cantonments and 1 in East Legon, and if we have any interest in any other areas, we will make that happen. That's a part of our movement. I'll move on to my last question for anyone who's here from Zoom. I don't have any formal training. My gardener has learned so much from me in working in the last 7 years. How do I continue to encourage him and help him to teach others what he has learned in other people's gardens.
So maybe I'll start with that because that's actually my experience. I always spend, and actually this year has been good because this year we are home all the time. So my gardener and I are having a fun time changing the garden and introducing new plants. And what I see from the relationship is exactly what I said. It's partnering. So he has the skills. Like I said, I'm not the agriculturalist, so that's my thumb is a slightly green, but not that green. He has the skills, but maybe he does not have the what is the word I want to use? The perception and the colorings, etc., of how things should be arranged, or why this should be placed this next to this one, or why this introduction will be better. And so together he's found it so exciting, and every time he comes in, he just checks if I'm free, and he tries some innovation. He wants you to come and see what has been tried. And so I think that's a beautiful relationship that you described, and I'm sure many people have such relationships. And it was in discussions with him that I found out that, because like I said, I'm in Tema, he provides this service already to various of the industries in the industrial area in Tema. And so I was like, wow, because he just comes in, I think, once or twice a week at mine. And so I was like, is it just you? And he said, no, he has colleagues that he's brought into the sector. So I'm sure if you have that interaction with your gardener, you find out that there are other opportunities for him to transfer the skills that you are putting through him to others. And now you are creating a new perception for him for how he sees gardening. He's going to begin to see it in the same arrangement and order and system that you are teaching him. And that's going to transfer. So I love that example. Keep that relationship going. I think that's how we always implant into others' lives. I'm sure others will have more to add.
She said it all. I don't even know what to add. It's such a beautiful relationship, and I can say it also from experience, because I have such an a relationship with Eric, who works with me. Eric, sometimes I think he loves the plants even more than I do, and he's always looking out for this, and coming back to you and saying, "Oh, I think we should do it this way. What do you think about it?" And he fortunately is a bit much more cerebral. So he's very innovative, and he takes initiative. I just love him for that. You see, so hopefully you will get your gardener to also move into that realm where they will begin to, they are not just waiting for master say. Yeah, so
we have
Auntie
actually
Esther's gardener, who has been wonderful.
Wahab, responsible for this beautiful backdrop.
Would say something too. Yeah. You're Wahab.
I'm going to step aside and let the boss really take over. This is all your work. Please speak to what you've learned.
I've started with Madame about 20 years now. Wow. And 20 years now. You may take off your mask so you can hear you. 20 years now. Wow. But I've got to say that what I brought here, I've added something more into it. The only thing you have to do is to humble yourself. And after humbling yourself, you have to be a hard worker. And then also a hard worker, you have to listen to what the one you are working with. You don't always use what you know. Because if you do that, you are not going to learn anything. But if you understand the person, whatever the person said, then you listen to her, then you do whatever she wanted. Put your own aside. Then you learn something from the person. That's what I have to say.
Thank you, Wahab. Thank you.
That's
this whole entire garden, which you can see behind us, he's responsible for, and Auntie Esther has been the visionary for it. But it's really wonderful that he's been with her for 20 years. So before we move to the next portion of our program, I'd like to see if there are any final words. Chris, do you have any final words, or anyone else on the panel?
Well, my comment would be that if anybody participating in this has any remaining questions for me, please, Stratcomm has my email address and you can always contact me. We can Skype or Zoom or whatever. I will always spend time on any questions. So please don't hesitate.
Wonderful. Any final words from our panel?
Oh, no, I have. I think I picked the word push, and I think that's what I'm going to do with myself. I told you already that I like it, but the mosquitoes scared me. But now I know that I can learn how to manage them organically, and that's what I have also learned. But for those listening and those who want to be entrepreneurial, we've already said it. Your motive is clear, M1. Then look for the partner who will help you with the money. But if you don't humble yourself to learn, you can't bring others to work with. So that you offer, that's the marketing, offer all the time what the people want. That's what I think I've learned from all of us. Thank you.
I think I mean, all the words have been said, and what I'll encourage others who are watching and are thinking of this as an opportunity, that don't hold back. Just start. Just that we've built so many dreams on our pillows, and the pillows are not yielding the money. So just start with whatever you have, with whatever land you have. Like Patrick said, with a pot, try it first, and then again, the resources are available through this movement, and then tap into any information that you need to help you. So just start, please. Don't be limited by your mind and the constraints that you create for yourself. Step out of your comfort zone, and this could be your opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. Sure, Patrick.
Okay, so these are final words. I just want to encourage particularly the youth, the younger people. And not only the youth, I mean, there are older people who are very young at heart. But everybody out there, start looking at things differently. Let's stop looking at things and seeing constraints. Let's begin to look out for opportunities, because there are opportunities everywhere and every day, staring us at us in the face, in the gutters. There are opportunities. We can do it. I mean, because of Corona, Zoom has moved up. That has been a great opportunity. I think it's gone high. It's worth more than even ExxonMobil or something.
We're on Zoom.
We are on Zoom.
This is how we're doing the show.
Even in adverse situations, there is opportunity. So look out and begin to see that you can do something with the little that you have. That's all I want to add.
And be innovative and think in a technology way as well. So I want to acknowledge a few of our partners. Thank you again, Chris, and thank you, POOM Netherlands. I want to acknowledge the Dutch Embassy, the Israeli Embassy, the AMA, AEMA, Mamofra Foundation, Eco-Conscious Citizens, to our brothers and sisters in Kenya as part of the Kenyan Flower Festival. Thank you for joining us. We're connecting the whole entire continent through our love of plants and flowers, so thank you. To the Nigerian community, the Nigerian Ghana Garden and Flower Show, we had such exciting goodwill messages, and we hope you're joining us. We hope you're proud of us. We thank you. To our media partners, we wouldn't be able to do this without you. I'd like to acknowledge the Daily Dispatch, Insight, The Herald, Joy FM, Unique FM, and moving right on along to the sponsors who I work with, and I really would like to acknowledge and recognize Stanbic Bank, ABSA Bank, and Republic Bank. We're now going to have a short video and hear from Stanbic, our sponsor.
If you have employees on the road, you'll know the problems that can occur with their travel spending. With cash, it's inconvenient and risky, and there's no reporting. Not to mention the foreign exchange uncertainty. That's where the Stanbic Corporate Prepaid Card can help. The Stanbic Corporate Prepaid Card offers so many advantages for company spending. It's more than a card. It's a robust corporate expense management solution that allows you to manage employee expenditure. Through Corporate Control, you'll benefit from just that, control. Corporate Control is a web-based corporate expense management platform. It provides transparency into spending and expense compliance, all available with powerful reporting. It all leads to reduced costs through less cash and FX servicing, as well as providing operational simplicity and effectiveness. The Stanbic Corporate Prepaid Card. Complete expense management for your company.
Anywhere you dare, Stanbic dead out.
Akusia, I'm awful. I have to go deposit some money at the bank and buy some things at the mall.
Okay, but deposit money at this time. Which bank is still open?
Oh, Akusia. With a Stanbic ATM, even without your debit card, you can deposit money at the ATM. And you know the ATM doesn't close. It is 24/7.
Oh, wow. That's good, oh. You know, as for me, when I close late, I have to carry the money on me home with all the rest. And sometimes even when I'm asleep and I hear mosquitoes making noise in my ears, I have to wake up and check if the money is still there.
Oh, Akusia, don't make me laugh.
I'm serious, Dede. It's not easy for me at all.
Mean cable.
Hey, Beje no kobi view.
I'm off to the mall now.
Wonderful. Thank you again to all of our sponsors and partners. We really appreciate the support for the Ghana Garden and Flower Movement and the Ghana Garden and Flower Show. Now, the fun doesn't have to end here. We hope that if you have any additional questions, you'll visit our website. We also hope that you'll visit us on social media using all of our platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, using the hashtag GGFS2020. If you enjoyed hearing from Patrick, as well as the other panelists, we have a masterclass that's up where he was featured yesterday. We have one that will be featured this evening with Miss Araba Swanaker talking about floral design, and one tomorrow with Miss Joan talking about herbs and spices. So please be sure to check us out throughout the week. We have lots of fun planned activities for you, including also Nurture to Bloom, which is tomorrow, same time, same place. We'll be here. I'd be remiss if I didn't open and close the show in the same way, acknowledging our visionary convener, my mentor, Pearl. I'm sorry, you cannot replace her. My Auntie Esther. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. Karen, don't go away. Stay here. It's your show. Thank you very much, everybody. I actually brought a cemetery plant. So can you show it? The plant that a lot of people don't respect, which it's beautiful. I really love it because it has so many colors. And it actually changes colors sometimes. But we've limited them to the cemetery. But other people elsewhere want them in their homes. So you can just take this on and plant them. And they don't need care at all. Those of you who drive past my home, you see that they're outside the house because I want people to see that my home is not a cemetery. It's a place where plants grow. One of the things that I have learned from all this, and what I sat out there just soaking the knowledge from all of you, Patrick, Auntie Irene, Auntie Pearl, and of course, Auntie KJ. Thank you so much. And Daddy is here with us. KJ's daddy is sitting here watching her daughter do so well. Chris, thank you very, very, very much. What I learned from all the speakers today is make sure that you have an interest. See the opportunity in the interest, not the challenge. And COVID-19 has taught us to see opportunity in challenges. Later on, at Stratcomm Africa, I'll be leading a series on locked down to unlock. And that is what happens to seeds. When they are locked in the soil, they unlock, they break out, they germinate. Then they grow, they have branches, they flower, they bloom, and they fruit. Allow yourself to think sometimes and bear fruit. Chris, thank you for letting us know the things that you need over in Europe. We're going to plant them. We're going to plant miniature cocoa trees and send them off to you so that they become conversation pieces on your tables when you have your cold winter dinners. So we're very grateful. The education goes on. The Ghana Garden and Flower Movement seeks to multiply, share knowledge, multiply knowledge. We also have fun activities. You heard the panelists here. They say they are available, and you can continue to visit our site. We're being very generous. This is throughout the year. All the exhibitors you see on the show are there throughout the year. We want the world to see Ghana. We want the world to experience Ghana. And together, we shall meet the goals of the UN Sustainable Development. We shall have a greener, cleaner, healthier, wealthier, more beautiful Ghana. We just want to say thank you very much. All of us, go out there and live the change. And remember, Stratcomm Africa helps you to communicate environmental conservation. We have special offerings in environmental communication and agric communication. Our name, Africa, means we believe that communication is an important tool for national and continental development. And we want to seize the opportunity of this digital age to use communication excellence to prosper Africa. Join us, and together, Africa will continue to rise and rise, even out of this lockdown situation. So the world will see us bloom and fruit, so they will come and harvest, and we will reap the benefits of the harvest. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Auntie Esther. And thank you again to all of the panelists. Thank you to those of you who are joining us. We appreciate you for being a part of our Ghana Garden and Flower Show 2020 conference, where we have had such a wonderful time today. I'm so appreciative and humbled, and thank you to all of you. Yeah, we really don't want to go, so maybe we'll just play some music and dance, and the audience can participate. But again, thank you all for joining. We'll see you tomorrow. We'll see you throughout the week, and we hope that you had a wonderful time as much as we had fun. Thank you.